Before we begin, make sure you subscribe right now, because today's story is not just about an old coin. It's about a hidden treasure that many people ignored for decades. And if you love rare coins, history, mystery, and unbelievable values, then this channel is made for you. Imagine holding a small coin in your hand, a coin so ordinary looking that most people would spend it without thinking twice. But what if I told you that one rare version of this South African 20 cents, 1979 coin shocked collectors around the world and reached an unbelievable value of $599,000? Yes, a tiny coin from 1979 becoming worth more than luxury cars, expensive houses, and even some people's lifetime savings. Today, we are diving deep into the mystery behind the South African 20 cents, 1979 coin. And trust me, what you are about to hear might make you run to your old drawers, coin jars, and forgotten boxes tonight. Back in 1979, South Africa was going through a complicated period in history. The country was changing politically and economically, and millions of coins were being produced for everyday use. Among those coins was the 20 cents piece. At first glance, it looked simple and common. Most people used it for groceries, transport, and small purchases. Nobody imagined that decades later collectors would desperately search for certain rare examples of this coin. The coin itself carried the strength and identity of South Africa. Its design reflected the nation's pride, and its metal composition gave it a distinctive appearance. Older men today remember these coins clearly because they passed through countless hands in markets, shops, buses, and family businesses. But here is where the story becomes fascinating. Not every 20 cents 1979 coin is valuable. In fact, most are still very common. The secret lies in rare versions created because of minting mistakes, unusual production conditions, and extremely limited surviving high-grade specimens. Collectors know one powerful truth: rarity creates value. And sometimes the smallest minting error can turn a normal coin into a legendary collectible. Some 1979 20 cents coins were struck with unusual details that sharp-eyed collectors later discovered. Tiny differences in lettering, unusual surface textures, off-center strikes, and rare proof quality finishes suddenly transformed these forgotten coins into treasures. Now imagine this. For years, people carried these coins in their pockets without knowing their true importance. Some were lost forever. Some were melted down. Others disappeared into private collections where they remained hidden from the world. And every time one rare example appeared at auction, the excitement exploded. Collectors from different countries competed fiercely to own these historic pieces. Why? Because coin collecting is not only about money. It is about history, survival, and owning something very few people on Earth can ever possess. The older generation especially understands this feeling. Men who grew up handling coins every day know the emotional connection attached to currency. Coins remind people of difficult years, family struggles, first jobs, childhood memories, and entire generations that have passed. That emotional value becomes even stronger when a coin suddenly turns out to be worth a fortune. Experts say condition is everything in coin collecting. A 20 cents 1979 coin covered in scratches and damage may only be worth a small amount. But if the coin survived in near perfect condition for over 4 decades, collectors become extremely interested. Think about how difficult that is. A coin made for daily circulation, surviving untouched for more than 40 years, is already remarkable. Most coins suffer damage almost immediately after entering circulation. They get dropped, scratched, bent, and worn down by constant use. But a flawless specimen is different. A flawless coin becomes a time capsule. When collectors look at such a coin, they're seeing history frozen in time. Every detail remains sharp. Every line remains clean. The shine still reflects the moment it left the mint decades ago. And this is exactly why wealthy collectors are willing to pay shocking prices. Some collectors are businessmen. Some are investors. Others are historians obsessed with preserving rare artifacts. But they all share one obsession: finding the rarest coins before someone else does. The competition can become intense. Private auctions sometimes happen quietly behind closed doors. Wealthy buyers may offer enormous amounts simply because they know another example may never appear again. That is the power of rarity. And the South African 20 cents, 1979 coin became one of those mysterious pieces that sparked incredible attention among serious collectors. There are stories of people discovering rare coins in old family collections passed down from fathers and grandfathers. Others found valuable coins hidden inside forgotten containers, old wallets, or dusty drawers untouched for years. One man reportedly kept rare coins in a simple wooden box for decades without realizing their true value. Another collector almost sold a valuable coin for pocket change before an expert recognized its rarity just in time. These stories continue inspiring collectors around the world today. Because deep down, every collector dreams about one magical discovery. The idea that somewhere, hidden in an old home, a forgotten coin worth a fortune is waiting to be found. And honestly, that dream keeps the entire coin collecting world alive. Now let us talk about what makes older men especially fascinated by coins like this. For many men over 55, coins represent a different era, a time when money felt physical and meaningful. Every coin had weight, sound, and identity. Unlike today's digital world, people actually carried history in their pockets every day. Holding an old coin brings back memories that younger generations may never fully understand. The smell of old wallets, the sound of coins hitting a table, the excitement of receiving change from a shopkeeper. These small moments become powerful memories over time. That emotional connection is one reason older collectors remain among the most passionate buyers in the world. And when a coin combines nostalgia with massive value, interest becomes unstoppable. The 20 cents 1979 coin is more than metal. It is history. It is mystery. It is survival. And for some lucky owners, it became life-changing wealth. So tonight, before you sleep, check your old drawers. Open those forgotten boxes. Look through family collections. Search inside old cabinets where coins may have been sitting quietly for decades. Because hidden among ordinary coins, there may be one rare piece waiting to change everything. And now for the moment everyone has been waiting for. One rare South African 20 cents, 1979 coin stunned collectors with an estimated value reaching an unbelievable $599,000.
Before we dive into today's incredible story, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Every week we uncover hidden treasures, forgotten coins, and the powerful stories behind them. Now, let's begin our journey into a coin that has left collectors speechless and historians amazed, the 1975 South African 20-cent coin. Now, you might think a 20-cent piece is just pocket change, something that jingles in your hand and disappears at the bottom of a drawer. But the truth is, every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story turns out to be worth millions. Literally millions. Picture the mid-1970s. South Africa was standing at a crossroads, a time of economic shifts, political tension, and quiet transformation. The year 1975, a year when coins were still struck with pride, with precision, and with a certain artistry that's rare today. These weren't just bits of metal, they were national symbols, small round messengers of identity and history. And in that year, the South African Mint produced a 20-cent coin that would, decades later, capture the imagination of collectors across the world. This coin, simple, copernical in appearance, carried on one side the familiar portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator whose face once defined the nation's currency. On the other side, a delicate design of the protea flower, South Africa's national emblem, gracefully spread its petals. At first glance, nothing unusual. Millions were made. People spent them every day on newspapers, on a loaf of bread, or maybe a cup of coffee at a roadside cafe, but here's where the story takes a turn. Somewhere between design and production, between history and happenstance, something rare happened. A small batch of these coins was struck differently, an experimental minting, some say, or perhaps an error run. The details are debated even today. The metal composition, the die alignment, even the finish, subtle differences that most eyes would never notice. But for the trained eye, the numismatist, the historian, those details are everything. For decades, these special 20-cent pieces sat unnoticed, passing from hand to hand, from pocket to pocket, until time buried them in collections, drawers, and forgotten jars of loose change. And then, as coin collectors began to dig deeper into the archives of the South African Mint, whispers started spreading. A rumor of an ultra-rare 1975 issue, a coin that shouldn't exist, but somehow did. That rumor grew. Coin hunters from around the world began to examine every 1975 piece they could find. Some found common coins. Others found slight variations, but one man, one determined collector, found something truly different. His discovery would become the stuff of legend. It was a quiet evening, as he sorted through his late father's coin collection, dusty albums stacked high in an old wooden cabinet. Among the silver and bronze glimmers, a modest 20-cent coin caught his attention. The luster was unusual. The metal seemed almost too bright, the edges too clean. And when he compared it to another from the same year, the difference was clear. This coin wasn't like the rest. After months of verification, expert analysis, and authentication, the truth emerged. This was one of only a handful of 1975 20-cent coins ever produced in that unique strike. Some call it a proof pattern issue, others an experimental die trial, but whatever its origin, it became one of the rarest coins ever to come out of South Africa. The discovery sent ripples through the coin world. Collectors, investors, and museums all wanted to see it. Coin fairs buzzed with speculation. Experts argued over its true rarity, its historical context, and, of course, its value. And that's when the story began to climb beyond history, into legend, because you see, value in coins isn't just about metal. It's about mystery, rarity, and the emotional pull of history. It's about holding something that connects you directly to another time, another generation. For many men who lived through those years, 1975 wasn't just a date, it was a memory. A time of change, of youth, of working hard and building futures. Owning a piece of that time, especially one that shouldn't even exist, feels like owning a secret chapter of history. Collectors began to bid higher and higher whenever one of these pieces surfaced. First a few $1,000s, then tens of thousands. Each sale drew more attention, each discovery fed more excitement. And when one pristine, uncirculated specimen finally went under the hammer, in a private sale that stunned even the most seasoned collectors, the final price reached a number that no one thought possible: $12 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 20-cent coin, once worth less than the price of a cup of tea, sold for $12 million. And now, some might ask, how can that be? How can something so small, so ordinary, hold such extraordinary value? But that's the beauty of numismatics, the study and love of coins. Value isn't just measured in metal, it's measured in meaning. The story, the rarity, the craftsmanship, and the deep emotional connection between past and present, that's what collectors pay for. Imagine the feeling of holding that coin in your hand. It's not heavy, yet it carries the weight of an era. Every detail etched into its surface tells a story of a nation, of change, of craftsmanship, and of the quiet possibility that greatness can hide in the most unexpected places. And maybe, just maybe, it makes you wonder what treasures might be sitting in your own collection, waiting to be rediscovered. That jar of coins you haven't touched in years, that little box from your father or grandfather, perhaps it holds something rare, something that connects you to a piece of history. So next time you come across an old coin, don't just glance and move on. Take a closer look. Because sometimes, the smallest pieces tell the biggest stories. And remember, the 1975 South African 20-cent coin, once an everyday piece of change, now stands as one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever to leave the mint. Its legacy isn't just in its metal, but in the mystery and magic that surrounds it. A coin once worth 20 cents, today valued at a breathtaking $12 million. So if you haven't yet, subscribe now, because stories like this, they're just the beginning. There are more hidden treasures, more untold tales, and more incredible discoveries waiting to be uncovered. Stay curious, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of history in the palm of your hand.